You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So we are here with the one and only Martin Schuster of Schuster Tobacco, Bentley Tobacco. Your generation, you've been your family's been in the cigar industry for over 100 years. That's correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And now you're finally kind of making your way into the U.S. market, right? So, I mean, I just
move the microphone closer.
Yeah,
to
slide that closer to you.
Okay.
There you go.
I will do. So
Perfect.
Better
Perfect.
now.
There you
Oh,
go.
good. So it's hard for me to smoke a cigar while. So
Yeah, there's a whole moving process. So how long has your family honestly been in the tobacco industry?
My family business is founded in 1909 by my grandfather in Germany. So we are here that more 115 years now.
So over 100 years.
Yeah.
And you know what's really kind of fascinating is that you guys make your own cigars.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're cigar makers. We have a cigar factory in Germany, very traditional, very high quality boutique cigarillos.
Right.
We use raw material from all over the world, so from Brazil, from Dominican Republic, from Indonesia, from Cameroon, and that's where I grew up in the business. So I'm fourth generation, and as a kid I played in the tobacco.
Right. That's funny because I always get the questions always asked me like, do you smoke cigars around your kids? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, this is perfectly fine. They're going to be okay. I promise you. And then like when you go to Nicaragua or the Dominican Republic, you always see somebody's. There's always kids around it and all these other things. So it's funny that it's demonized in our society so much when in all reality it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so you make your own cigars, right? And you sell all across Europe.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's more common in Europe is more like smaller cigars, I would assume, right? Or
yeah, it's a very traditional way. The products we produce are without aroma, without filter, so it's just natural tobacco. And there is a tradition in Holland and in Germany for that. So in the last years, there was more interest from other countries in what we're doing because it's authentic, it's real, it's a lot of handwork, and it's a good point for us at the moment.
Are there any other families that do the same thing that you do that are still kind of in existence, or are you like the only one?
We are nearly one of the left in this industry, so we do everything on our own. So we produce the boxes, we produce the cigars. So there is some wood and some tobacco shipped in our factory, and at the end of the process we have nice little boxes with small cigarillos. It's very fascinating,
right?
And these this process and that way we do it, it's really unique.
Okay, so now you also handle a lot of distribution. Your family handles a lot of distribution of cigars that are more made for the U.S. market. Now you're seeing a lot of these companies like Foundation, CLE, going overseas, right?
Yeah.
You handle that distribution?
Yeah, we do that since years. So
and Roma too.
Roma, yes, absolutely, yeah. We for us it's important that this is that we have long-term relationships with our partners, and we want to be like a good partnership for that. So with Christian, I have a very long relationship. The first time for me in Central America was when I was 14. My father sent me over to Honduras. It was my first trip and my first trip alone. So
you went by yourself at 14?
Yes.
Wow.
But it was easy because I knew Christian, so that was fine for me. But it was an experience.
How old was Christian at that time?
I don't know really, but Christian was
16.
in.
Right, John Carney's in the background. So it's a 16 and a 14-year-old running around.
No,
like,
Christian is older than me.
Yeah.
So he was in Germany 2 years before. So I was 12 and I first met him.
Would you guys go like to party or something? Like, I mean, how did you? Obviously, you developed a friendship with him, right?
Yeah, but the German people are very, they're not so interesting. So we are also hard party people. So Christian sit in Germany, in Bünde. So Bünde is an ancient cigar town in Germany, but it's a small city. We have 46,000 inhabitants, and there's not much to do there,
Gotcha.
It's, and If you ask Christian about this trip, he will tell you about a cold basement because it's very cold in Germany compared to here, Florida. So,
right.
And he will tell you something about food.
Right.
So
and that's about it?
Yeah, my mother was a little bit, she didn't exactly know what to do because Christian wants cornflakes and pizza. So and she said, I cannot give him pizza all the time, but okay.
So you have these relationships, obviously you've known Christian for a very long period of time, and now you have Bentley Cigars, and you're looking to come into this market, into the U.S. market, which is interesting because a lot of these companies are going the other way, right? Why didn't you tap Christian to handle the distribution for that brand?
The thing is, we wanted to create a brand for long-term run. So my goal was first, of course, Germany, Europe, where our home markets are. Mm-hmm. And of course, we had this discussion, and he is doing the warehouse for us here in the US. So we're working together on that. But he gave me an honest advice and said, if you want to be successful in the market, you need somebody here taking care for everything, because I personally cannot be here all the time. So I need somebody who really understands what we wanted to do with the brand, who understands our philosophy behind. And I had no rush,
Gotcha.
For me, it was not that I have to do something. So I invested everything I had to develop the brand. But I have no pressure to make the next steps. So, this year it was perfect timing. Last year we made our first trials here in the US, see how the reactions are from the customers and from the consumers. And in summer we had the chance to come together with Connie, and he is a perfect fit because we are on the same page.
Well, I mean, as he was walking in and out of this office, perfect fit's not necessarily the best term for Mr. John Carney, as he knocked over like 75 things as he's walking around.
The studio looks a lot bigger on the show than it is in person, I'll tell you.
It's like the Hulk walking in here or something. Okay, so, all right, so you kind of start here. It's been, about 2 months, I'd say? Was it kind of a trial basis for John? Was it, okay, hey, because, as you informed us, like you've officially become why can't I talk?
Words are fun, huh, Mike?
Words are fun. A corporation in the U.S., right? And you've tapped him to be CEO. Correct? Yes. Okay. So was the first 2 months like, hey, we're friends and I think that you're capable, but let's kind of see what you can do? Or did you already kind of have that planned out? Like, you're going to be the guy. Let's start facilitating this and let's start kind of mapping out a plan.
In the summer, when we had the first discussion about that, we figured out that we had some homework to do before we can really start. So that's why we said, okay, let's take some time. What we need to do our homework to do it really properly. So when I do something, I want to be sure with that, and I want to have a good feeling with that. So that's why we took the time. And of course, it's a question of scheduling. So I wanted to come here to be corporated. So now in November we had the chance. So I flew in on Saturday, and since Tuesday we are corporate.
Right.
And so since Tuesday,
it's official.
It's official, and he is our CEO now. So
he's the CEO.
He's the boss.
He's the guy. He's the boss. At least on paper. Okay, so just kind of jumping back real quick. So you handle all operations for the Schuster family.
Yes,
yes. You're the top guy.
Yeah, I'm the CEO since January, so my father retired.
Okay. Was it a forceful takeover, or did he go quietly? Like, what does that look like? I mean, honestly, I know that I'm saying it kind of jokingly, but, I have my own kids, right? And, maybe one day, who knows, if this grows up and becomes big enough, would I hope for my sons to take over, or even my daughter, or, what was it for you? Did you want it? I mean, you were obviously been around tobacco your whole life, right? So tell us a little bit about that. And then, what's the exit strategy look like for your dad? For what you can say.
Once you're in the industry, you never can escape from that. So
like The Godfather.
That was clear for me. So it was clear for me to be in the cigar industry.
Okay.
And of course, I have a very strong emotional binding to our family business.
Right.
So when I started with Bentley on my own, I wanted to make my own experiences. It's a few years ago, so I was a little bit younger, and I wanted to do my own. So I hated to take over something and be the son and always be introduced. Oh, this is the son of Philip Schuster. So so I wanted to have my own.
Okay.
That was very important for me, to make my own experiences and have nobody who says, "Oh, don't do that, don't do that." I want to make my own mistakes, So
of course.
it was very important. And last year we had the discussion in the family what the future will be for the company,
Right.
and also for my sister Anna-Marie. And we decided that the best would be to do the step now.
Right.
And of course, I was happy that my family said, "Okay, we trust you. We will give you our family business, the responsibility." So it's a big honor for me, but also big footsteps.
Right. So does your dad check in? Does he say, "Hey, this is what you have to do," or anything like that, or does he go away? Did he go away quietly? I mean, I don't know if, for me personally, like, I think that if I handed it to my son, right, and it was my entire life's work per se, right, I think it would be difficult for me to not say, "Okay, no, not like this. You got to do it like this," or whatever. You know what I mean? As much as I'd want to trust my son that he's going to do things, it wouldn't necessarily be my way, right? So, does he check in at all, or does he,
My father is smoking cigars all day, and my mom don't like him to smoke cigars in the house. So he has exactly one opportunity, is crossing the street and coming in the factory. So
Gotcha.
Of course, he's there all the time.
Okay.
And I like that because he is, for me and also for my people, he's an advisor. So we ask him, of course, for his opinion, especially on tobacco, on production, machinery. But he trusts me. He respected all my decisions. He never asked or said, "Don't do that, don't do that." So I'm really happy that we have it that way. So I have my freedom to do my own decisions, and it's always I have the family behind. But as you said, it is his life. So he built up that, and he worked his entire life in that factory, in this business.
Right.
So it's not easy to say, "Okay, now I'm stopped, I'm retired." So this will never happen.
Yeah, it's hard to turn off. But flip side of that coin, you still want your son to kind of go through these processes and make the mistakes along the way, and figure things out too, right? Because that'll just make you a stronger person for the family and the company, right?
The good thing was that I could make my mistakes before in my own company. So I think that I learned a lot about running a business in Europe, because this is completely different from running a business here in the US.
Right.
We have a lot more regulations. We have a lot more problems to face. And
it's the Wild West out here.
I don't want to say it's the Wild West. I think that in Europe, we love to do everything really properly, so 120%. So that's why we have so many regulations on tobacco. So you would think it's easy to ship cigars from Germany to France. Yeah, and technically it's okay, but every single country has different regulations. So you have to learn all that. You have to see what the consequences are, and you have to you understand each market, because each European market is different from the other. So tax-wise and excess-wise and so on. So I proved that I'm able to do that, and I think this was very important for me to think that I can do it, because this is important. When you want to follow up somebody, you need this security in yourself that you can do that. So otherwise, I think I wouldn't have made this decision in that way. So,
Yeah, I mean, dealing with different governments in different countries and doing everything you can to possibly stay in those regulations and those guidelines. I mean, that's got to be a huge task. How many countries you say you work with?
Around 28 countries.
Okay, so yeah, you're close to 30 different sets of rules.
Yeah.
for everything being distributed.
We're just starting now in Azerbaijan. I never shipped cigars before to Azerbaijan, but
I don't even know what the hell that is.
yeah,
It's another country, Michael.
Yeah,
it's
obviously.
another country.
Obviously.
Let's keep it that. It's another country.
Right.
But completely new because you have
Oh
to
my
start
God.
from the scratch then.
That's crazy. Okay. So do you see, like, what's really kind of fascinating to me too is I would say over the past, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 years, you have seen more American made cigars. I mean, not American made, but intended for the U.S. market going over to Europe. Do you think that there's a trend change where more European consumers are looking for something that's been made for the U.S. market?
I think that in Europe we had the situations that we have a very strong competition in handmade cigars from the Cubans.
Right.
So it is a big market for Cuban cigars in Europe. And
So you guys don't like taste, is what you're saying? I'm just kidding, dude.
Yeah, but since a few years, there is a big chance for other products coming in because the Cubans raises the prices all over the world, and so there's space now. And it was a shortage of availability of the Cubans also, and this is a big chance for all the products coming into that market. But of course, you don't have to overestimate it. So it's really the biggest market in the world is the US. You cannot compare that with Europe.
Right.
But beside that, Germany is a good market.
That's really fascinating, man. Okay.
But it's not so easy like people think it is. So you cannot explain why we do something like that.
Right.
It's
I mean, everybody thinks it's easy.
Yeah, but nothing is easy.
No.
But here it's not easy at all. So I had always big respect for the US market. That's why we are so late here.
Right.
I wanted to make my experience here and see what it's about because I really have respect for the market and of course for all what you do here. So
yeah, I mean, it is really interesting. It's a very hard uphill battle, but you're acknowledging that, right? Coming into this market, or just like any other market, is going to have its challenges, right? And like the scary part that I've always seen, in this industry, being around it for 15 years, is that like you'll look back after a couple years and you're like, hey, whatever happened to that guy? The brands. When something fails, it isn't like a failure of like a crash and burn and they just poof are gone and you're like, oh my God, they slowly kind of disappear out of the market, right? And then you never hear from that person again.
Oh.
So what are you looking to do in order to make sure that Bentley is sustained in the U.S. market? Like, what's your vision?
As you said, we are in the industry for 100 years, so I always look on the long term. And I don't want to be quick in the market and quick out, maybe. So I want Bentley to be a success here. That's why we want to grow organically. That's why we have a very close plan how we can do something. So we don't want to be here in thousands of spots at a time. We want to do step by step, see how it goes, how we have to adjust things to make it properly. So I haven't invested so much time in my life and so much money to develop that brand to be away in 2 years. So I want to be really have Bentley as a good cigar brand in the US market. And this is a common goal I have with Kani because we both on the same side when it's come to the long-term development.
Okay. So now you have no affiliation with Bentley Auto.
No.
0.0 affiliation. How the hell did you pull that off? How did the name Bentley Cigars actually come into existence?
Our trademarks are from the 1960s, and in 2010 we had the possibility to purchase a Bentley pipe company. So actually our brands are coming from the pipes. That's why we carry pipe tobacco, for example, in Europe, and pipes. It's just for the heritage of the brand because that's where we come from. And then over the development, we get more and more into the cigar things because we are cigar people. And it was important for me, and it's logical that we say, okay, we don't make only pipes and pipe tobacco. So we wanted to make cigars. And it was a journey, of course, always it is. But today we are completely independent from anybody, so it's our own brands for all over the world.
That's pretty fascinating, man. It really is. What are you thinking about for like a sales force for your team? Or is it just going to be John for the time being? Are you going to acquire sales reps in specific regions, or like where do you see that going?
We want to grow organically, so that's why we started just with John as a one-man show. But of course, we have a plan how we can grow in the future. And John is the CEO, so he will take the decisions what you want to do. But we talked about that, of course. And my goal is that we have a sales force here. Of course, we want to make the best efforts and serve the best experience, not only for the retailers, they're of course very important, but also for the consumers. So we want to do some events, Bentley typical events for the cigars, and I want to make really an additional a plus for the brand and for the consumers. So it's very important for us to have top service and of course a sales force here in the US.
Okay. Now, you guys are really known for making smaller cigars.
Yeah.
Right? Could you ever see you making those smaller cigars for U.S. market?
We have small cigars for Bentley, of course. And yes, I also want to bring these products here in the U.S. We have not timing for that, actually. So we see how it can develop and we make some trials maybe. But yes, we want to develop a special product for the U.S., yes.
Okay. And what about, so you have two major blends right now, right? You have the white and the green.
Yes.
Are you going to, is that it? Or are you going to make more core line things? Are you going to make any LEs? Like, what is your view on some of those things?
I always wanted to have it as simple as possible. So that's why we have actually two blends. It's a green one, which is a signature blend, and the white one with the Connecticut. We have 5 different sizes, and that's where we are now. But of course, we want to make some limited editions. We want to make something, make it interesting also for the consumers. Some actually we have this AI project which we started here. It was an idea from John, which is great because our claim is driven by taste. So we are driven by the taste of the consumer. So it's logical that we ask the consumer about his ideas about a cigar. So that's what makes it so unique and so interesting for us, and so a good fit for Bentley. So we will develop, of course, this AI project cigar, but beside that, other good, nice things supporting the brand. And yes, I have an idea for a third blend, but we haven't decided yet when to come with that up.
So you have some concepts, but you're still kind of focusing on the structure of the U.S. market and what the sales force is going to look
step by step.
Right, one by one by one. All right. So before I let you go, I do want to ask you one other question. You're I would say, just my own assumption, that you're blessed and you're cursed by having your dad with you throughout this entire journey. Now, those are my words, not yours. Okay. What has he said to you in life? Because I would assume that he's a big, kind of in some ways, like a mentor, right? What would be the one piece of advice or something that he has said to you that has always kind of stuck with you, that you said, okay, this is something that, I will continue forth with because of that?
My dad is my biggest supporter in life. So
awesome.
He always supported me and my ideas, but we are from the northern part of Germany, so we are easy people and with both feet on the ground. And he always said to me, regardless what you do in your life, and regardless if it's a really good success or not, it's always important to be with your feet on the ground. So that's what we are, and that's what we behave, and that's this is a kind of given.
Right. So that's kind of, so it's like kind of always stay focused, kind of always stay humble per se. Is that what that kind of means? Or
no big egos.
Right. Gotcha.
The consumer. We make cigars for the consumer, not for ourselves.
Right.
So it's absolutely not necessary what I think and what I do. It's necessary that the consumer likes our cigars. So that's why the consumer is our king.
So create something to serve.
Absolutely. And we want to stay in the business for the next 100 years. So it's always a question of sustainability and be careful what you do.
Right.
Don't risk too much.
Make smart decisions. Right. All right. That's fantastic. John, do you have anything to add over there?
Always, but we're going to need another podcast for that.
All right. Well, stay tuned for the John Carney interview. That'll happen, I'm sure, sometime soon. Martin, thank you. I know that it's quite a journey for you to come all the way out here, and I know that we're not a big retail store, so coming by and saying hi to us and introducing yourself, I'm very grateful for that, and thank you so much for coming onto the show, man.
Thank you for your support.
Absolutely, man. All right, guys, thanks.